What is going on, everyone? This is Curry Puff, and today we're going to go over, so in case people are unaware, I qualified for the Players Cup, and this is the team that we made the qualifications on. So the next couple match videos today, or day 1, day 2, and possibly day 3 will be going up on the run. We had a pretty good run, and this was the team that we're using. So as you see, we have the Torkoal with the Assault Vest, Burning Jealousy, Body Press, Overheat, Clear Smog. We used the Mimikyu, a Gastrodon, a Metagross, Venusaur, and a Ho. A lot of times people were thinking Ho was not good. Zacian and Kyogre were very popular Pokemon for the Legendary Players Cup. We ended up doing this with the Ho, and it was definitely an interesting run. We got to fight multiple different teams. It was not just a run-in-the-mill Zacian, Kyogre teams. We pretty much fought like almost one of every legendary. And we're going to kind of just get right into it. So we're going to go into our first match, where we actually come up against another Ho team. This is the first match of day 1. The first thing I notice when we are looking at it is, besides the Ho, they have Lapras, which is probably Lapras G-Max, they have the Dragapult, they have the Raichu, Umbreon, and Ferrothorn. So I'm thinking here, when I'm building or trying to select my team, that I am probably going to want the Torkoal Venusaur lead. We don't usually Dynamax the Venusaur on this team. Usually the Ho is the Dynamax target. And we do decide to definitely bring the Ho-Ho in the back, and looking at it some more, I thought Gastrodon would be pretty good. I felt like I have enough answers for the Ferrothorn that they wouldn't want to bring it. So we go ahead and we make our selection. We enter into the match in a second. And we're just waiting for our opponent to kind of select here. Oh, I'm having a lot of downtime, aren't I? I'm not doing any face cam for this. It was all recorded a while ago, obviously. I kind of want to just focus on the matches more than anything. So we are going to just kind of get right into it. So we're going to lead with the Venusaur Torkoal. They lead with a Ho-Ho Raichu. We're going to find out right here that that Ho-Ho is going to end up being Safety Goggles, which is going to be a little unfortunate because we're going to waste our first turn trying to trying to Sleep Powder the Ho, but that is okay. Ends up working out for us a little bit here, as they are going to go for the Max Airstream into the Venusaur, as we just kind of go for...
You talking to me?
I believe it was Burning Jealousy, if I'm not mistaken. But they're going to go for an Eerie Impulse on the Torkoal, probably expecting a Eruption or any like an Overheat or something like that. And
I don't know. I'm in the middle of something.
Unfortunately, take a big hit with the Venusaur. I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't go for the Eerie Impulse into the Venusaur, just because if I did max it, it would help, but the Ho would bring it down to its Sash. This is actually kind of why we have a Sash. In a best of 1, this definitely works out very well, because a lot of people don't know it's Sash, so they don't know to double up into it. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to get the Burning Jealousy off. That's not going to burn the Ho, unfortunately, but it will at least get the Raichu burnt, which will at least help a little bit in the long run, but not too much. So right here we are going to end up going for, I believe, the Earth Power into the Raichu, and we are going to go for the Clear Smog and the Ho-Ho. Because my thought here is if they try and set up another Max Airstream, I'll be able to at least get rid of that. We're going to find out they max Ground into the Torkoal, and you're going to see how bulky this Torkoal is, because this Torkoal is amazing. And they're going to end up switching out the Raichu, which was a good move on their part. conserving it for later. But again, they come into the Umbreon, which the one thing I will say is they're making a kind of a big mistake here, is they are just leaving the Venusaur alive. Venusaur is faster. In one sense, like, yeah, it doesn't really pose much of a threat to the Ho, but on the other hand, and look at that, the Torkoal just eats that right up. So, again, the Ho isn't really threatened by the Venusaur because it can't sleep, it can't do anything like that, but this is where like the Torkoal really shines, as it gets rid of those stats. Seeing as I really can't do much for the Umbreon at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and Sleep Powder at this turn, and I'm going to, expecting the max ground, I'm going to switch into my own Ho-Oh, because it should be able to survive anything that this Ho wants to throw at it, and if I need to, I can always switch out into the Gastrodon next turn. But this is essentially wasted all 3 turns of their Dynamax because they've gotten no stat boost. So the Sleep Powder comes out, we do connect it, which is fairly lucky because it's not the most accurate move in the world. But Venusaur really didn't have too much to do here. Max Quake does come out into the Ho, doesn't do anything. So now our Ho is on the field. And we're just going to kind of hang tight here for a little bit. Their Dynamax ends, and we are actually going to start our own Dynamax here. I do think about it a little bit. If you notice that mine does have the Iron Head instead of like a ground move, I figured with the Ho having mainly a high special defense but a low physical defense, Iron Head probably a little bit more beneficial. Not that you'd always want an Iron Head, but I felt like the fire is kind of redundant for most things that you'd want to hit. With a ground move, you'd be able to hit with the fire move as well. Of course, that's excluding... I mean, really, what is it excluding? I guess another fire Pokemon. Like, I guess if you came across, like, a Colossal, you wouldn't want to do that. But, like, the Venusaur kind of covers that. So we go ahead and we Dynamax the Ho here. We are going to do our own Max Airstream, I believe. Sludge Bomb is going to come out into the Ho. I'm pretty sure they went for Protect. Sacred Fire is going to come out into the Venusaur, take out the Venusaur, which actually works in our benefit here, because we're going to kind of keep the whatchamacallit hidden, the Torkoal, and we are going to just miss out on that KO on the Ho, which is okay, because this is now going to have them cause a switch, because they're going to go into Raichu here. And we are going to go for an Iron Head after Torkoal comes out. And this is where this like I said, the Torkoal actually really shines here. This Torkoal is, honestly, I think is probably the biggest help to this team over even having a Legendary on it. I personally love this Torkoal. But we are going to go for the Max Steel Spike into the Ho. Figure it would pick up the KO. If you switch anything in, like the Lapras, it would take a pretty decent chunk from that. Nothing's really going to want to come into a offensive hit from the Ho. So Raichu is going to be least resistant to it. So, and they do get a Baby Doll's Eye off. So that's going to weaken us a little bit here. So we find out it wasn't Protect. Steel Spike goes into the Raichu. Does a little bit under half, which is unfortunate. He is going to end up going for Nuzzle next turn because he's going to outspeed. And we are going to go for that Body Press. And it's actually kind of important here that we go for 2 Steel Spikes here, because essentially everything he has in the back, well, the Ho-Oh, the Raichu, and the Umbreon aren't going to be able to do much to the defenses of Torkoal. And we know that the Ho-Oh, I'm pretty sure it's Earthquake, because I think that's the ground move that it gets, won't be able to do much to Torkoal here. Excuse me. So he's going to go for that Nuzzle. We are going to, obviously, well, not obvious, we get lucky. We do break through the paralysis. He goes for the Moonlight. We get his health up. That's okay, because we are going to actually do even more this time around. And, I mean, essentially the Umbreon isn't doing too much here. We are going to end up resetting Ho just a little bit, because he is going to bring in Ho-Oh, then he's going to switch into the Lapras, I believe. And I kind of just went ahead and did a little bit of a risky move in the next turn because I didn't really see the point of going after the Umbreon. I figured it was just going to Moonlight. It wasn't putting really any offensive pressure out or defensive pressure, and I want to kind of get the stat reset on Ho-Oh here. I mean, besides yawning, moonlighting, baby doll eyes, I'm assuming it has foul play. So we are going to go for the switch out into the Gastrodon, which is going to help protect our Torkoal here. And we are going to, which also will reset our physical attack stat on the Ho-Oh, and also just get Ho-Oh back to full HP, which is the nice thing about having Recover on a Pokemon, is when you do switch it out, you do get that full HP. But here we're going to see that they do go for the Hydro Pump into the Torkoal, which is the right move. Torkoal is going to just, it's going to body this Lapras. Moonlight comes out. I mean, like I said, this Umbreon isn't doing much. It hasn't really been too much of a threat here. Next turn, we are going to be taking it out with another Body Press. Storm Drain takes into effect. So this is going to help Gastrodon quite a bit here. And Torkoal is just going to completely bop this Lapras. So, and it's funny, actually, when I made this team originally, I kind of just threw it all together. I actually had a Reshiram team I was originally going to use, and then I'm like, I kind of want to make a Ho-Oh team, and I slapped all these on last minute. Gastrodon, I did literally no calcs with. I just kind of got one put together in like 2 seconds and ran it. Torkoal was made from Season 7. The Venusaur was from Season 7. Ho, I did some real quick calcs with. The Metagross was something I was originally thinking of for a different Season 7 team, and the Mimikyu I think was also from a different Season 7 team. So they're all like different parts of a Season 7. So he goes for the Snarl. Snarl doesn't do much, so we now know that it's Moonlight, Snarl, Baby Doll Eyes, and it's most likely going to be Protect. So we go for the Body Press here, and we do, I believe, go for the Yawn, or it was the Scald. I kind of wasn't paying attention. Yeah, it was the Scald. So that's fine. We're going to do that. We're not going to get a burn. It's just going to do a decent chunk. We are +1. I think this is mainly a defensive Gastrodon. I don't think I put any special attack investment in this. Which it's weird to think that I'm using a Gastrodon in a sense, because like Rillaboom is so prevalent, especially with Kyogre running around. And you'd think that you'd want to have Rillaboom on a Kyogre team to deal with something like Gastrodon. So the Brave Bird's going to come out into the Gastrodon. This thing's going to eat it up pretty well. We do have the Citrus Berry on this. This is not your standard recovery variant. This is a Gastrodon that kind of just, it takes a couple hits and then it's done. It does its job very well though, and you'll see how well it does. So Body Press doesn't do like the most amount of damage, but at this point, not too much will. They do actually, I believe, have Recover on this Ho-Oh or Roost. So we are going to go for the Scald, and we are just going to kind of just go for the Body Press again. And they are going to end up just going for a Brave Bird and taking themselves out while not KOing our Gastrodon. And Ho-Oh just sat in the back and did nothing after doing its Dynamax turns. So that's going to wrap up Game 1. And we're going to just kind of jump right into Game 2 very shortly. So this is a good start. The next team that we are going to be up against is going to be... Oh, what team was this? Was this the... This team I ended up like... I think I bodied pretty hard this next one. I think it's the Shadow Calyrex team. Yeah, it is. With Tapu Lele, which I'm really surprised they didn't bring the Tapu Lele, seeing that I had Mimikyu. They do have the Dracovish, they do have the Cinderace, Whimsicott, Kartana. So I think I go for like one of the weirdest leads here, or do I go for the Venusaur Torkoal? Okay, it looks like I do go for the Venusaur Torkoal. Again, this is actually kind of a couple months after I've done this, so it's definitely a little weird rewatching this, because like I edited this pretty quick together. I didn't really look at too much. I just made sure I got the matches in there. I really can't tell you what I'm kind of going through for thoughts here. I know I definitely wanted the Ho, and I think I was just going back and forth on whether or not I want the Gastro. I end up, I think, putting Mimikyu because my thought here for the Gastro is like the only grass they have really is the Kartana and the Whimsicott, but the Kartana is kind of a problem. Mimikyu will kind of serve a purpose of dealing with the Calyrex Shadow Rider because it's 4 times weak to it, and this at least allows us to get like a Trick Room mode up. So, match is going to begin. We do know Calyrex Rider is pretty quick. They do not plan to Dynamax this, if I remember correctly. A lot of times people didn't because of how frail it was to just a Dark or a Ghost, both having a lot of priority moves, which essentially can bop it. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to lead with the Venusaur Torkoal. Torkoal, like I said, is just literally a beast. We are going to get the... whatchamacallit, set up the Sun, but sitting here and looking at it, like, I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna go for the Tailwind, so we want to switch into our whatchamacallit here, our Mimikyu, and we are gonna go. We're thinking the Burning Jealousy, but this is where I definitely do the double take and I make sure that we switch in the Mimikyu here. I think I had to go back one more and not just do Torkoal. Okay, apparently I just withdrew the Torkoal. I'm an idiot sometimes, man. I am just such an idiot sometimes. It ends up working out because we are Focus Sash, so it's not going to kill us. We are going to get the Sleep Powder off, which is a lucky thing. Astral Barrage is not going to give him any type of boost here because he won't get the KO. And actually doesn't really do too much to the Venusaur, which is kind of nice. It just shows you how bulky a Venusaur can be, even with very little bulk investment, especially on the special side. So we do get the Sleep Powder off here, which is good. We could go for the Trick Room here, and I think we end up going for the Trick Room here because they do have the Tailwind up, and most of my Pokemon are going to be slower in the back. And we go for the Sludge Bomb, which we're going to find out that that is not Focus Sashed. They are, I believe, going to go for the Taunt, but Mimikyu does have the Mental Herb on it, which protects us from that, which works out for us and our benefit. As much as it is nice to have Venusaur in the sun, dealing with Tailwind and having these Pokemon be faster does hurt us a bit. So, we do get the, hey, Olimar. Good boy, thank you. We do get the Sludge Bomb off and we find out it is not Sash, like I said before, with the Whimsicott. They do send out the Cinderace, and I think right here they just forfeit. I was going to go for the Sleep Powder, I believe, into the Cinderace. Or no, we were going to go for the Earth Power because we knew we undersped it, so that meant we outsped it, and the whatchamacallit was just going to, the Shadow Sneak was just going to bop that. I didn't really see a point. Oh, okay, we do get the turn off. They are going to forfeit in a little bit. Yeah, Mimikyu just bops that thing so much. Sucker Punch comes out. So this is going to turn it into, oh, right, it picks up the KO here. That's right. We... we win after this turn because you're gonna see our boy Torkoal come back in. Torkoal the Rampaging, mind you, it is literally just on a rampage in most of these matches. It's an Allure Ball too. If you didn't notice how much I like this Torkoal, I love it. So it is Dark typing. We are going to go for the Body Press, and we're going to go for the Shadow Sneak on the Calyrex. As Calyrex done literally nothing. Battle was canceled. Essentially, we've been in a really good spot with Ho still in the back, fully reserved. So that's another game on our belt that we didn't need a Dynamax, we didn't need to use our Legendary, so I'm actually feeling pretty good about this team. I felt like I was navigating it pretty well against the type of mons that we are up against. And we are going to just jump right into the next one, which does have the Regieleki, which has the Incineroar, our Dusclops, Feeny, Calyrex, our Glacier Rider, or Ice Rider, and then Urshifu Dark, I think it was. So, depending on what they led, I felt like Metagross Mimikyu would be really good because Mimikyu can at least proc Weakness Policy if I got the proper lead, and if not, having Ho in the back under Trick Room actually still works very well. And running Torkoal, 9 times out of 10, I just brought Torkoal even if I didn't bring Venusaur. Just because it was such a good defensive option in a lot of these matches where it gave me a fairly safe switch in, which is what I really liked about it. So we are going to go ahead, we are going to lead with that Mimikyu and the, whatchamacallit, the Metagross. And we're going to do a couple of risky plays here. I know Ho is actually really bulky, naturally. Because they are going to lead with the Urshifu and the Dusclops, I believe. And I actually don't want to go into Trick Room at this point. I was kind of prepared for Trick Room if needed, but I want to stop the Trick Room now. So we're going to go ahead. We are going to go, we see it's Urshifu Dark. We know he's probably going to want to, he's probably figuring I'm going to double into the proc the weakness policy on the Metagross and try and pick up the KO. But that's a baby brain play. So what we're going to end up doing is we are going to go a hard switch right into Ho-Oh here. Or no, it's Torkoal, right? Yeah, it's Torkoal. I believe we switch hard into Torkoal. Because we kind of... No, it is Ho-Oh. Yeah, because I have the... That's right, it's Ho-Oh, Torkoal, Ho-Oh. If I remember correctly. Because there's really no point in me not going into Ho-Oh in some regards, because I can recover the HP back, so that really helped this team out quite a bit, with just longevity. So Ho is going to come out, it's going to go for the Wicked Blow, we are going to go for the Taunt. We do know that the Urshifu is now faster than the Mimikyu, which is okay. Mimikyu is going to get to keep its disguise, which is nice. Ho-Oh loses about half its HP for a raw switch in, which really isn't the worst, and they go for the Haze actually, and not the Taunt. So that was meaning that they were expecting that weakness policy proc, which ends up working out for us. So we are going to switch into Torkoal here, and we are going to go for the Play Rough on the Urshifu. I think they go ahead and switch the Ursh out, but I could be mistaken. They might go for the Wicked Blow here onto the... I know, they go for the Wicked Blow onto the Ho-Oh, and then they try and conserve the Urshifu later. That's right. So we gotta just hope that we hit the Play Rough here, which we are. We're going to find out where the Sash is. So the Sash is going to end up being on that Urshifu, which makes sense. Dusclops comes back, and they bring out the Tapu Fini, so it ends up working out in our favor quite a bit there, because we do end up reducing Tapu Fini's damage, or yeah, it's water damage with Muddy Water, which Torkoal is going to really appreciate, and same with Ho. Wicked Blow does come out into the Torkoal. They are probably figuring they could get a kill on the Ho-Oh, but as we see, Torkoal just eats that up. I didn't plan on going for a Will-O-Wisp. That's probably what they were planning for. We go for the Play Rough instead. I didn't really see the point in going for any type of Will-O-Wisp because Fini was so popular at this point in time. But we are going to go ahead and switch back into the Ho. This is going to give us a safe switch in because we can at least Shadow Sneak this Urshifu. Even if they detect, Ho is not going to take a lot of damage from a Muddy Water, and Urshifu would die if they tried to attack the Ho-Oh slot. The most they could do is probably like Sucker Punch into the Mimikyu to at least break the disguise, but they're going to go ahead and conserve this Urshifu, and the Fini, I believe, just goes for a Muddy Water. So we are going to have the Torkoal come back here. They are definitely in... They want to get the up, the Trick Room. So we have the Ho come back out. And we are, I believe, going to just Dynamax here, because we're actually in a pretty decent spot health-wise, because we are going to take like next to nothing from this Muddy Water.
Yeah, I'm in a competition.
So they hit both the Muddy Waters, which, you know, a little unfortunate, but not the worst. We do get the disguise popped on us for the Mimikyu, and it actually fall. So honestly, it's kind of a good turn for them in one sense, but in another sense, oh, we lose 20 HP there, not 19. Interesting. Huh. I might have to recalc something later.
Yep.
We are going to go for the Taunt. They're going to just go for the hard switch into the Glacier, which I believe is kind of a risky move here. I think at this point, I probably... If it was me, knowing I'm going to expect a Dynamax here from the Ho-Oh, because it's kind of like in a good position for a Dynamax, I probably would have tried to sack off the Urshifu and then get the, in the Glacier in for free. Oh no, I maxed Airstream into the Fini. That's right. So they end up going for like the smart move. So yeah, Dusclops comes back. Makes sense. They do want to not let the the Trick Room get taunted. Because Mimikyu most likely was going to go for the taunt there. And I will say, the Riders are very broken monsters in the fact that they get 2 abilities with the Unnerve, which, when I think about it in hindsight with the Gastrodon, it prevents the berry. So, kind of dumb that I put a berry on. But at the same time, you weren't guaranteed to always go against it, and if it wasn't out there, then it would eat the berry and get its health back. So, 50-50 on whether or not it was a smart idea. It's going to go for the Moonblast here, which is okay. We do go for the taunt. We took less than half, so we are in a pretty good spot. So Ice Rider now cannot max guard if he wants to. We are going to get a speed boost here, so now we will be faster than the Feeny, which allows Mimikyu to pick up the KO if needed. And I believe they are going to go for a max Steel Spike into the Mimikyu next turn. I think Dynamaxing in front of Ho-Oh is a risky thing. They definitely weren't weakness policy. I believe they were AV'd, but it's kind of hard to tell. So Shadow Sneak's going to come out into the Feeny. No, Play Rough is, yeah. Because I don't know why I would Shadow Sneak there, because Play Rough will definitely do more damage. We do have the actually drop, so this Shadow Sneak was going to be a little bit higher accuracy. But yeah, we are going to just Sacred Fire into the Calyrex, which is just going to, in the sun, it's going to bop this thing. It is just going to so bop it. Honestly, I like Ho-Oh in a Dynamax format. This is actually one of the reasons why I like Dynamax so much, is because it makes some Pokemon that were normally considered not that good actually very viable, because it gives you a way to kind of shore up some of their weak areas. Sure, it's still really weak to Rock, but Rock wasn't nearly as prevalent. And Regieleki, even with its huge boost to its electric attacks, still wasn't going to do like a shit ton of damage to it, just because I think it's like base 150 special defense on Ho-Oh, which is really nice. And I think it's just 90 defense, but it's like 110 HP. I mean, all in all, it is just Ho-Oh is actually a pretty bulky mon. So okay, yeah. So they go for the max guard there, which makes sense. So we are going to go for the max flare. I think Sun runs out this turn, but I could be wrong. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I think I got like 2 more turns of it. Steel Spike's going to come out. Mimikyu, there's just no way for the Mimikyu to survive that. I'm curious now. Let's look at Ho-Oh's stats while we wait for this turn to kind of play out. I'm a little bit of a spaz when it comes to this stuff. Let's see how on the money I was stat-wise. Feeny's going to get some of its HP back from the leftovers. Okay, so it's 106 HP, not 110. It's 90 defense, so a spot on there. And 154 special defense, not 152. Regardless, it's kind of a dummy thick stat. So we do bring out the Metagross here. We did keep that in the back. We still have the Torkoal in the back, which is going to end up being useful here. I believe we just go for the max Airstream into the Calyrex, which is a little bit of a risky because it just got the plus in defense. But in all honesty, I'm not like the most concerned about it. I'm pretty sure this would pick up the KO anyway. This is a Life Orb to Ho-Oh at base 130's physical attack, and I think it was max investment. I can actually tell you while this turn plays out, we are going to get a crit, which again I don't think is going to really matter in the long run of things. So Feeny gets swapped back, which is a little unfortunate for us. I believe, yeah, this ends up going actually pretty much down to the wire. This is a very long match, and I kind of wanted to take a break after it, but we're gonna pick up the KO on the Calyrex. So essentially, we're now down to like the last couple mons. And he has a lot that are kind of on the last leg. We do have the Torkoal luckily still in the back, which is going to be able to eat up quite a bit of attacks. And we can get Sun back up, which will end up benefiting us, because he doesn't really have a fire attack. So we are going to go for the Iron Head here. It is just going to, mainly meant for that Feeny, but still going to do a decent chunk to the Dusclops. I'm going to try and find out what this Ho-Ho's physical... I feel like I didn't fully invest in its offensive capabilities because it was just such a massive unit when it came to that. But we will find out. So let's see. Oh, not that one. There it is. So he brings out the Urshifu, so he is going to go ahead and he is going to go for the Wicked Blow on the Metagross. And again, this Metagross is actually pretty bulky. Oh, it goes for its attack, that's right. So we go for the Iron Head into it, and we go for the Iron Head into the Dusclops. I didn't really want to risk missing anything. He gets the Trick Room up, which, okay, to be honest, like, it makes sense that he wants the Trick Room up, but at the same time, I saw a Torkoal kind of in the back, and Metagross was going to be slower than Urshifu, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong here. Honestly, I don't know the whole reason why. Yeah, it was not max attack. It had Miter special, had a bit in defense, and had a little in speed and mainly HP. I think I calced it so after one Airstream outsped most things. You're about to see how bulky this Metagross is too. Even though it's weak to dark moves, the Iron Head is going to come out into the Dusclops, and the Wicked Blow is going to go into the Torkoal. I don't know why he would go for the Torkoal over the Metagross, but he does. We are going to go for the Burning Jealousy. Unfortunately, the Dusclops is going to underspeed us and get the KO. We are at 49. We are 1 under 50. 2 under... If we were at 51, we'd live the Nightshade. But you're about to see Metagross do something absolutely disgusting here. And this might have been a low roll for the Urshifu, mind you. So Urshifu goes for the Detect again. This is gonna kill us with the Nightshade. So again, things aren't looking the most promising here. So Ho-Ho is gonna come out. At least we are back at pretty decent HP. We got the Sun back up. So Feeny in the back isn't looking the best. We do have the Brave Bird, we have the Sacred Fire. We are going to Sacred Fire into the Dusclops, which is a little risky because we could possibly miss that. I think it's a pretty 85 accurate move. We are going to Iron Head into the Urshifu, which here comes the disgusting part. So we take the Sucker Punch and we're on 7. If he Wicked Blow that, if he sucked off the Metagross, if he sucked it good, it probably would have done a lot better. He does go for the Pain Split, which is okay. It doesn't do too much, but it heals him a bunch. We go for the Sacred Fire, which chunks the Dusclops. We're going to lose a little bit of health due to the Life Orb, and we pick up a kill on the Urshifu. So now we're coming into the final turns. Metagross is not looking too hot here. One Nightshade will kill it. Ho-Ho is down to 2 Nightshades. I think we end up not max guarding. I think we end up protecting here because now I can kind of protect freely. And we are going to Iron Head the Tapu Fini. I think I go for, no, do I? Am I really just this dumb? Or did Trick Room end up not? I'm just dumb rewatching this. I might be just really dumb rewatching this. No, a Nightshade comes out into the Ho-Ho, which, okay, that's a really dumb and really risky move. We are going to get the kill on the Feeny because Ho-Ho is slower. Like I said, we were not max speed. This Ho-Ho was meant for a Trick Room and outside of Trick Room, and the Iron Head's going to pick up the kill on the Dusclops. Honestly, if it went the other way around, I think I still would have won because I think Trick Room was up next turn. But yeah, it was, I think either way we kind of had it wrapped up because I was trying to kill the Feeny first. But a very close match. Going into the next match, which I believe this is going to be the last one for the video, we do have our typical Kyogre team. And this is probably going to be... This is another one where it's a lot of back and forth. We are going to go for a substandard lead and the Torkoal Mimikyu. Because just looking at this team, he has the Spectrier, which would probably want to bulldoze. He has the Regieleki, which might have Electro Web. He does have the Metagross, which is going to like the Trick Room. But looking at that one, it looks like it's probably more speed invest than our Metagross. And we don't even bring Metagross here. And we don't even bring Ho-Oh here. I actually didn't bring a Legendary for this match, which is kind of strange when you're thinking about it, because we're against one of the most, like, infamous mons in the Legendary series of Kyogre. Now, granted, it wasn't a torn Kyogre set, but regardless, how we're going to play this match is indicative of how much I actually really like this team. I just feel like I was playing out of my mind this Players' Cup qualifier. I don't think I'm normally this good. I think I just played extremely well. So we are going to be up against the Mimikyu we're going to lead Mimikyu Torkoal. He is going to go ahead and switch in the Kyogre here, which makes sense. He is going to get the Max Ground into the Mimikyu, or the Max Steel into Mimikyu. I know this brand Jealousy isn't going to do too much here, but the goal isn't to do too much. The goal is to just burn and neuter the Metagross. So he's going to go ahead and go for that first turn Dynamax. I don't know if you guys have been noticing, I've been holding off on my Dynamaxing a lot for these matches. I felt like in the Legendary meta, holding your Dynamax was probably the best thing to do. I actually think a lot of the meta has changed that way, and unless you have an extremely good lead, Dynamaxing first isn't always the best. He is going to do a decent chunk with the Volt Switch into the Torkoal, but Torkoal does kind of eat it up. It's unfortunate to lose such a defensive role to that type of damage, because we do need to preserve this Torkoal for later. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to get the Rain set up on us. He's going to go for the Max Steel Spike into the Mimikyu spot, which now has Gastro. Gastro just kind of eats that up, and this is... I personally like Gastro. I felt like it worked well against a lot of the Pokemon. I know Rillaboom is a thing, but it's all depending on how you use a Pokemon. I don't necessarily think just because there's such a hard counter, it doesn't mean it's unusable. It definitely served a purpose, especially in the Kyogre matchup, and that's why they bring the Rillaboom with Kyogre. So the weakness policy does get set up, but that's okay. We still got the burn. We unfortunately can't clear Smog Metagross, but we can clear Smog anything else if we need to. We are going to go for the Earth Power into the Metagross, and we are going to go ahead and we are going to switch into the Mimikyu, which gives us a free hit here. One thing I will definitely say, I feel like my opponent makes two big misplays here, and that could just be me here. But so first we get the Storm Drain off, which is nice. So that's going to give us a boost. We are then going to get the the Sky's Broken. And here's where I definitely felt like they made a mistake. They thought I was going to stay in the Torkoal. That wasn't cash money to them to think that I'm dumb enough to stay on with the Torkoal. Next they go for a Zen Headbutt, which, good lord, this Gastrodon eats it up after that Metagross is burnt. Like, it's living on 4 HP. I don't know if that was a low roll on their part. It might have been. But, man, that pays dividends. We are going to clap it. We are then, I think, going to go for a Max Guard here. And they are going to end up switching in the Rillaboom, I believe. Yeah, so I go for Protect, not Max Guard. I keep saying Max Guard, I mean Protect. I'm an idiot. And honestly, I don't think I get the Trick Room up here. Like, in my thought, like when I'm thinking about it, okay, like, I'm not getting Trick Room up here, right? He's going to switch out Kyogre because he's going to assume the Sun's going to come out. He's probably expecting Shadow Sneak into the Metagross, so he's probably figuring I won't go for the Trick Room. I probably don't have the Trick Room, but I'm thinking Max Steel Spike's going into the Mimikyu to prevent that Trick Room. He also does protect himself from the Shadow Sneak because of this Psychic Terrain, so that's half the reason why I didn't do it either. And we're actually going to get some kind of important information here. So we are going to go for the Protect on this turn. He is going to go back into the Zen Headbutt, into the Gastro, which works actually in our benefit. So we're going to... Gastrodon's on its last leg, and that's okay. We do get the Trick Room up, but the important thing is he can't Grassy Glide here. So Trick Room goes up, and then we're going to switch in the Torkoal, I think in the Mimikyu spot. No. We switch Torkoal into the Gastro spot. And Mimikyu stays, and I think just play roughs the Rillaboom. Honestly, we probably could have kept the Gastro in, but I felt like it'd probably be a better switch in the end. We're going to play rough, though, the Rillaboom. And that's going to do a decent chunk. Like I said, this match is actually a lot of back and forth with just the Weather War. But, I mean, who's better? A tortoise or a giant whale? A tortoise. They definitely make a huge mistake there. They forget about their own Psychic Terrain, go for a Bullet Punch, go for a whatchamacallit, a Fake Out. That sucks. It sucks. Like, you hate to see it, but we're going to go for the Play Rough again on the Rillaboom. And we are just going to go for a Burning Jealousy. Rillaboom does get swapped out here, which makes sense. Kyogre is going to take a decent chunk. So, again, this is a Burning Jealousy into Metagross that's about to pretty much just bite the bucket. So, it goes out, take out the Metagross. We still haven't Dynamaxed yet, mind you, so we have Venusaur in the back. So, we go ahead, we get the Play Rough off. So this Kyogre is not looking healthy. He is going to bring in the Rillaboom, which is perfect because what we're going to do is that Gastrodon that we saved in the back, we are going to switch that Mimikyu out for the Rillaboom here. I believe. Yeah, we should be doing that. And we're going to Body Slam the Kyogre. Or Body Press. Do we go for the Play Rough? No, we go... Yeah, we do a Shadow Sneak, assuming that we're faster than Rillaboom and... Oh, no, we do go for the Gastro. And then we're going to bring in the Mimikyu again and switch the Kyogre... the Torkoal out for the Kyogre, because Trick Room's going to come to an end in about 2 turns. So yeah, we sack off this Gastro, because at this point it didn't really offer much. We knew the Kyogre was going down. Body Press was going to be able to take care of it. And pow. It's done. It's done. The fact that they didn't see at the beginning the Gastro switching in, probably because of the Rillaboom. But honestly, I think I used the Gastro really well against it. Like I said, we are going to bring in the Mimikyu here. We are going to switch out the Torkoal for the Venusaur, because honestly at this point, nothing's really threatening it. So we go ahead, we switch out the Torkoal, bring in the Venusaur. They are going to go for a Thunderbolt into this, and Venusaur does take a really decent chunk. And we do go for the Play Rough on the Regieleki. Or was it a Shadow Sneak? I'm not paying attention here. I think it was Shadow Sneak, actually. And this is going to be the last turn of Trick Room here. Yeah, so it was a Shadow Sneak. So Mimikyu does actually survive that. We go for a Shadow Sneak. So that's actually important because outside of Trick Room now we know that we are going to be faster with the Mimikyu. So we eat up that attack from the Regieleki as Venusaur, and now we're going to go for that Dynamax. So right here we are going to go for the Max Ground into the Regieleki. Trick Room is going to be up. And I mean, I definitely feel like we played this well because now we still have our Sun mode in the back for such an occasion. We are going to go ahead, bring in the Torkoal. They are going to or they're going to Thunder into the Mimikyu spot. Makes sense. I don't know if I necessarily agree with them bringing Regieleki to this matchup, but I mean, hindsight's 20/20, 50/50, 60/60, whatever you want to say. And we are going to go ahead and we are going to lose Torkoal here, unfortunately. But again, this Torkoal's been taking names. It's been putting in a lot of work. I honestly think partly why I made it this far so far is because of this Torkoal. It's definitely hard pressed to say that Torkoal. I would consider personally Torkoal's the MVP. So we are going to go ahead. We are going to get that Max Quake out into the Regieleki. Unfortunately, Torkoal does go down, like I said. That's to be expected. Regieleki does hit like a freight train, even with base 100 special attack. Because of its ability, it bops things. But it is super frail too, so Venusaur just kind of gets rid of that. It wasn't really a super threat, but I just didn't really want to deal with it with Mimikyu. Because now it just lets us kind of take care of the Rillaboom from there on out. Rillaboom doesn't really have much for the Venusaur. Outside of Dynamax, it's going to be an issue. But what's nice is, so unfortunately Rillaboom's been getting a lot of HP back, but we are going to find out this is AV. There's no protecting on it. There's no anything, because if it wasn't AV, this Venusaur would just completely decimate the, whatchamacallit, the Torkoal. Sorry. The Max Ooze would totally kill the Rillaboom. But this is a very defensive Rillaboom, just judging from the damage that we're doing. But that little chip damage will help, because it essentially just negates all the healing it's gotten from the grassy terrain. We get the Max Ooze out, and then we're going to get one more Max Ooze out. And essentially this is going to be game. There's no way he can kill us if he had Protect. I don't even think it would survive Protect. We too are also getting our health back. We also get a boost for damage for Grass, Max Grass, which we're not going to even use. The Max Ground didn't really affect us. The most I could have done with this is essentially like put Weather Ball on Venusaur, but we didn't bother with that either. So Max Ooze comes out, Rillaboom is dead. I think they were probably going to go for like a Wood Hammer or High Horsepower or something. I don't know what they were planning. We know it had Fake Out, we know it had Grassy Glide, and that was about it. So that's with that. That is gives us, what's that, 4 matches, so we're 4-0 for the first day. I will have more coming out later. I can only do this in small bursts though. So it is what it is when it comes to that type of stuff. But yeah, so this is, I believe, day 1 of our journey to qualifying, which, spoiler alert, again, we do end up qualifying. We are currently 963 in the world with that rating, which I thought was really suspicious that such a low rating was so high in the current standings, and I think that tells you how volatile the Legend season was.